Hello investors and traders, and welcome to the weekly market report with the market guys. I'm AJ Monty. We've had a very interesting week this week, and I'd like to start off by talking about the diamonds, which is the SPDR's Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF, ticker symbol DIA. Today, Friday the 31st, we gapped up with a doji right here, which stopped right at a resistance area that was back on September 22nd. The interesting thing about this particular doji is that it looks to me like we are forming the beginning of a evening star pattern, which is very bearish. This pattern is a very simple pattern, really. It starts in an uptrend. We have a bullish candle and a gap up, and you can see in this particular example, this is a textbook example of what an evening star pattern looks like and how it's formed. You can see that this is an upward channel. The stock will most often gap up here in a small candle, but the completion of the pattern really falls on the day after the gap up, and you can see that this number 6 is representing a down bearish candle. You'll see that's in red. A morning star is the opposite of an evening star, but we want to pay very close attention to the evening star right now as we compare this pattern to what we're seeing on the charts. Again, you can see a very well-defined upward channel. It's a very steep channel. You can see that the volume at the very beginning of this channel was significant, but as the stock has been going up, the volume has been dropping. Now, again, we have this gap up on a small candle. Again, very similar to what we see here, very small candle on point number 4. And then what we expect to see is a bearish candle after today's trading session. In the past, we've always looked for resistance areas. You can see that this candle forms right at a resistance area, and we do have slightly lower volume on the diamonds. What's most interesting is that if I compare this to a more broad-based index like the Russell 2000, ticker symbol RUT, same thing applies. Very narrow upward channel. You can see here it's almost vertical, with this evening star forming at a resistance area. Now, if you're long any positions and you're not putting very tight stops into the market right now, you're risking giving back all of those profits for the past couple of weeks that we've seen in this short-term upward leg. So my advice to you is to make sure you're protecting those positions and even get ready to take a short position. If you're an Oracle subscriber, I am putting out trade alerts that are allowing us to make money even during a correction. We have bear funds that we trade. We have options that we trade that allow us to make money on the way down. For those members, be sure to follow the instructions and manage your risk. If I take this and I go on to the Qs, this is QQQ, it's more the NASDAQ market. Again, it's the same thing. Vertical moves up with the dojis forming the beginning stages of the evening star, and we have gaps down below the market. As I zoom in here, you can see that this is a gap that will eventually fill. For the Qs, there aren't any gaps that are left open. 100% of the gaps, with the exception of these two that I'm pointing out, have filled in the past, and that means that the market could very well drop to those points to fill the gap, and we want to be able to capture profits when the market starts turning down. If we look at the SPDRs, SPY, that's the SPDR S&P 500 ETF, just like the Dow, vertical moves, gaps, stopping at resistance points. We see negative volume down here on the volume bars. And again, these gaps, especially for the S&P, again, 100% of the gaps, with the exception of these two gaps, have been filled over time, and we are looking for lower prices. Finally, if we look at the VIX, that's the volatility index, you'll see that we also moved lower. The VIX is inversely related to the S&P 500, and we stopped right at the 200 period moving average. My forecast for the VIX is that we will eventually go up to fill this gap around 24. That's a $10 move for the VIX on the upside. Is that within reason? Absolutely. The VIX has been known to move. It's a very volatile index to trade, and you option traders out there can also make some money on that as well. Be sure to stay tuned to the Market Guys, where we give you weekly market reports and other services that will help you be most profitable in these challenging markets. Have a great weekend. So long.